Planet Dolan.
From protecting their property to preventing an eviction, we count 8 insane instances of people booby-trapping their homes. Hello there, my name is Nixium, Lord of the Dead, and today I will be reading the words on this here piece of paper for your enjoyment. Number 8. Black Country Drug Bust. In West Midlands in England, police arrested 8 men on drug-related charges, and at least one of the arrests proved to be extra dangerous because the drug dealer had booby-trapped his house. Using an enforcer, the police busted down the door, but they were met with a metal plate on the threshold. The metal plate had an electric current running through it, which came from the house's power supply. Despite the electrified metal, however, the police still raided the house and they arrested the man. During the raid, police found crack cocaine and a cannabis setup. Number 7. Apartment of Bombs. In 2012, James Holmes opened fire in an Aurora, Colorado movie theater during a midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises, and he killed 12 people. The next day, after police had arrested Holmes, they went to his apartment and found it to be booby-trapped with numerous bombs. Bombs that ranged from black spheres to pickle jars filled with homemade napalm and .40 caliber bullets. There were also gasoline-filled soda bottles laying around to fuel the fire and help it spread once the bombs detonated. Holmes had the bombs rigged to explode in 2 ways. The first was a tripwire stretched across a door that if the police officers opened it, it would trigger a thermos of glycerin to pour into a pan of another chemical. A fire would have resulted, making the bombs detonate. The second was a bit more complex, and it involved a remote control car outside by a dumpster. Inside the dumpster was a boombox that played very loud music. The music was meant to lure people over to play with the remote control car, and if anybody started playing with the remote, they would detonate the bombs because of an antenna on top of the refrigerator. With the help of a bomb squad robot, though, the police were able to break into the apartment and disable the 2 booby traps. Number 6. Evicted. A Utah man was so determined to not get evicted that he decided to put a booby trap by his door. 61-year-old Wade Woods set a shotgun on a countertop and secured it with 2 C-clamps. He took a piece of string and tied one end to the trigger and the other to the front door. When the woman came by to serve Wade his eviction notice, the shotgun went off and blew out a window. The woman was injured by the broken glass, but luckily, her injuries were not serious. Wade was later arrested on 2 counts of deadly conduct and 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Number 5. Cato versus Briny. In yet another case of a shotgun booby trap being set near a door, but only this time, the case involved a man named Edward Briny, who had inherited a farmhouse from his father. Due to the Iowa house being so old, it was prone to various break-ins and burglaries. Edward had had enough, and he decided to do something about it. He took a 20-gauge shotgun and went into the north bedroom. He set it up so that the shotgun would shoot at any intruder's legs when the bedroom door was opened. A man named Marvin Cato broke in 5 days later, and he experienced Edward's wrath when he opened the bedroom door and was shot in the legs. Marvin was, of course, hospitalized for his wounds. But once out of the hospital, Marvin sued Edward. The court ruled in Marvin's favor, and he was awarded $20,000 in actual damages and $10,000 in punitive damages. The judge who had presided over the case determined that using such force on an unoccupied piece of property was not justified or reasonable. If Edward was home during Marvin's break-in, he would have been justified in using his shotgun, as it would have been self-defense. Number 4. The Crutches Trap. Long Island resident Eric Stetz was angry at his landlord, so angry that he decided to set 2 booby traps in his apartment. The 44-year-old took a pair of crutches and attached 2 large knives to them using duct tape. Next, he attached each one to a different door, one on his front door, the other on his bedroom door with bungee cords. The traps were designed to have the cords tighten when the doors opened, causing the knife-wielding crutches to swing out and stab whoever was unlucky enough to open the door. Eric wasn't home when the landlord and a phone company employee arrived at his apartment. When the landlord opened the front door, he noticed the deadly crutch before it swung towards him or the phone company employee. After closing the door, the landlord called the police and Eric was arrested. Eric was then charged with reckless endangerment. Number 3. Electrified Roof. Australian Jumer Selamovsky and his family were relentlessly harassed following a violent incident where Jumer shot a man after being stabbed. At night, Jumer claimed to hear people on the roof of his house. So, what did he do? He stretched 2 electrical wires around his roof and screwed them into the gutters. The wires had 254 volts of electricity running through them, and the booby trap was created to protect his family. Now, not only did the booby trap protect him and his family, but it also got him arrested. Jumer ended up pleading guilty to setting the trap and being reckless. Number 2. The Belgians' Revenge. Belgian Louis Deathy felt abandoned by his estranged family. As revenge, he wanted his children and grandchildren to feel his wrath once he was gone by the way of various booby traps hidden throughout his 3-story house. The retired engineer built 20 booby traps, most of which used a shotgun, but he also wrote coded notes that gave the location of each one. Louis made one trap where if a certain number of beer bottles were removed from a crate, the shotgun would go off. Similar traps were found in the cellar, in a TV, in a water tank, the bathroom door, and even a hidden space in a wall. The house was such a death trap that Louis, when accidentally opening a chest that he had booby-trapped, he was killed by a shotgun blast to his neck. During the investigation, police were able to find and solve the coded notes and take down all but one of the booby traps, because there was one that they believed was never built. Number 1. Murder Castle. H.H. Holmes, one of the first documented serial killers, murdered people by means of booby traps that he had at his house. It wasn't just any house though, but a custom-built home that doubled as a hotel, all with the sole intention of murder. Holmes's castle, as locals called it because of its massive size, opened in 1893 in Chicago. The hotel was essentially one big death trap, with staircases that led to nowhere, doors that opened to brick walls, and other deceptions. Among the booby traps were secret rooms that people, mostly women, were dropped into through a trap door in the ceiling and left to die of hunger and thirst. There were also bedrooms with hidden gas lines that people were locked in and left to suffocate. Holmes was ultimately arrested by police in 1894 and was sentenced to death by hanging. Holmes confessed to 27 murders, but only 9 were confirmed. And do you want to know what the scary thing is? There is a possibility that he might have murdered up to 200 people. Alright, so have you ever set up a booby trap of your own? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below, and you might just be featured in a future countdown. It seems I must leave you now, mortals, but don't worry, I shall return.
Being a dictator has some amazing advantages, such as being able to go to the bank and take out however much money as you want. Because who's gonna say no to that iron fist, am I right? Saddam Hussein did just this the day before Operation Iraqi Freedom began.